It was so much faster than I thought. That's not the. That's because
that wasn't on purpose.
no. It was at 120 BPM and not 60.
But
I was thinking it was
with you, bro. I was
yeah.
You give me that count off, bro. That's all I need.
All right, we're running at 120 beats per minute here.
Yeah. Man, we have so many intense topics today.
We have a lot of intense topics.
And what blows my mind is that it's like all these topics are at the what blows my mind is that all these topics are at the tips of everyone's thoughts.
Yeah. That's exactly it, actually.
And yet somehow you're so nuts for bringing up some of these points. I'm serious. Up on the internet, it seems like you're so nuts for even bringing this up. But I'm going to tell you also that in person, when you have conversations with people, they're down to have these conversations.
And they always, most people end up agreeing almost. Or at least hinting at the same thing that they agree on. Or being like, yeah, like I thought that was weird too, but like I didn't want to talk about it.
Yeah. So it's coming to the point where, let me button up. Out of respect to the few people that are going to watch this.
This is we're trying to keep this for the family.
Yeah.
For the friends.
Yeah.
No swearing.
Yeah.
Only.
If they're swearing, it's going to be meowed out.
It'll be meowed out. You're watching episode 3 of the Houston Ensemble podcast. And we're really just trying to make headway here. We just want to bring together all these ideas, have conversations about them, bring new faces on, have conversations with them, explore experiences, etc.
And let me say this right off the bat, because we really should have said this the first episode, which is that we're not interested in being politically boxed in anywhere. I'm not interested in being politically boxed in anywhere. I'm not interested in being affiliated with any sort of this or that. That's not my goal. My goal is to attain to the best of my ability while I'm on this planet, my version of the highest truth. That's it. I'm going to do that however I can. And if you don't want to be part of that with me, within reason, then fine. But we're not going to be affiliated because that's not what it's about. The truth has no concern over your political whatever.
The truth has no concern for politics. It has no concern for emotions. Unfortunately, that's kind of an ugly truth as well, right there. And it's just like,
you know what's the truth of life? Death.
That is a truth.
What do you think you do to death? You ask death to give you another week? That's not.
Look, you go vegan for a week, you might get another week. But there's also, not that this is a reason to not be healthy or anything like that, but just think of this analogy. There's a guy who smoked cigarettes all his life, and eventually he was like, he tried to quit so many times. Eventually he quit, and every time he was wanted to buy a pack of cigarettes, he saved up the money and bought a car. A day later, he was driving the car, got in an accident, and died. Now,
man,
that's
tough.
That's not necessarily related to what we're saying, but in some sense it is, because it's like, you got to think intensely about what you're doing right now. You got to think intensely about what is being presented to you, what you're thinking, because you don't want to wake up one day and realize you're stuck or you're in a situation that you don't want to be in.
Yeah, so this is how reality crawls into existence, like, and this is such a rabbit hole too, because who knows what is reality and what is not reality, because
Mm.
that's become a popular topic, like
Mm.
that's become a buzz topic in so many podcasts, even the jokey ones, and but we're getting to the point that we're questioning our own existence so much that we're not even sure if this is real.
We're really not. And, we're driving home. We're having deja vu.
Yeah, like,
We're waking up. We're having deja vu.
I keep seeing black cats walk by. I'm like, I don't understand.
We're running into old cartoon characters. We're hanging out with cartoon people.
Straight up. There's people in this world. No, but for real,
Android princesses are sitting next to us.
Oh my god. Let's save the android princesses for another time.
But you got to be practical.
The deep cuts on this podcast, dude. We still don't know about the android princesses. What's this stuff about?
We'll talk about that at some point. So
how about this? Episode 666.
Yeah.
We're talking about all that stuff.
That sounds good. We'll save it.
Episode 666. We're talking about all that stuff.
Amazing. While all this is true, while you don't know what's real, you don't know if I'm alive, you're alive, what the heck's going on, why I'm sitting in front of this weird thing recording my voice so you can hear it later. It's like, yeah, it's weird, but I think you have to be practical about it, because if you're not, then it's kind of like some sort of form of nihilism, and nihilism doesn't get you anywhere, in my opinion. And you may as well seize the day and do what you love. Everybody knows deep, 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 deep down in your heart, in your soul, that there is meaning to your existence, or that you can create meaning to your existence. And most commonly, I would say, and I think it's true for me, the feeling of connection with other people, also love, they're kind of one and the same. That's a huge, I think that's really the big part of existence for a lot of folks. And then of course other things.
The way I look at it is like, you wake up every morning, right? And you have a choice. You can roll with the punches. That's one way of going about things. Like some people on this planet, and I know these people personally, they literally just roll with the punches. Like they don't have like any particular goal or ambition, or perhaps they do, but they don't think they're worthy of it or it's worth it, and they justify it through various. And it's a lot of nihilism, like you said.
Yeah,
it's a lot
like
of nihilism
life is worthless,
involved in that sort of thinking. So, but then there's the perhaps a type, they would call this guy a type A, and maybe that's me, I guess. But a guy that is looking for some meaning in structure.
Mm-hmm.
And because the whole notion of nihilism is to be structureless, right? So you don't have any framework you work by. It's just nothing matters. There's no meaning, so why try to give it meaning? But I don't see it that way, because and it's like a very simple thought experiment that'll get you out of this. Like, you don't think, for example, you don't think you have meaning, right? Like some people are like, what meaning do I have on this world? Like, who cares? Like, I'll just die tomorrow, right? Well, okay, I mean, yeah, you can die tomorrow, but so you at least have a parent or guardian or friend or even pigeon friend.
Or somebody
Tesla had a pigeon he was in love with that he died after
Pigeon counts.
The pigeon died.
Yeah.
Whatever it is like everybody has something or someone, and that something or someone is also part of its own ecosystem, And this connection, it goes deep into the roots of everybody. So it's like,
Yep.
even on a very practical point of view, like, you're actually connected to everybody. Your effect trickles down so deep. So it's like,
in many different forms. You know, you could take you are everybody in the sense of a soul. Now maybe you don't subscribe to that. Fine. Well, we can go about it another way too. You are part of everybody as organic material. You know, you're part of a star that once erupted.
you know what's so insane?
I don't know, not erupted, exploded.
You know what's so insane to think about? There's the one of the predominant like theories, like right after string theory, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it's that we're living in a multifaceted sort of geometric space-time continuum, and our
Yeah.
universe can only interact with this prism in a particular four-dimensional fashion, which is why we live in this kind of dimensional existence. But there's 5-dimensional, 6-dimensional, 7, 8, 9. I don't know how far the dimensions go, 12 or something.
Yeah.
But that is like various orders of existence. So in this dimension, I think that if you're interacting with this universe in any way, you're literally of the universe. You're born in the universe. You die in the universe.
Mm-hmm.
After you die, not only are you the stardust, right? Like Neil deGrasse Tyson says, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're the
Literally,
stardust.
you literally.
But your consciousness is also in that stardust, because your consciousness is firing waves.
It pervades.
Dude, it actually
like an
is
ocean.
much greater than your physical body, because you're constantly pulsating these frequencies from your
outward. You're like
excuse
a
me,
signal.
from your dang signal dome on the top of your head, dude.
You're just shooting signals out of yourself all day.
That's why psychic connection, psychic communication will eventually happen.
Or
it might be,
well, and
yeah.
it happened. You know, if you want to believe them, which I do. You know, fine. If you have a specific, and I think for us here, it's like we've had very specific, earth-shattering experiences that are phenomenologically true to us. And so I think when you kind of have some sort of experience like that, you're more open to these ideas of something like psychic communication, or, you know, but you don't even have to go that far as to psychic communication.
But it's not even that outrageous, though.
It's really not.
It's not that outrageous. Because, you know, what's that movie? It was 2016, maybe 2015. It's an alien movie about these giant tentacle aliens with language.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Language.
I just watched it recently.
Yeah. I got
Arrival.
I got to rewatch that, because when I first watched it,
was crazy.
When I first watched it in 16, I didn't I couldn't believe that they were touching on this topic, because it was a topic that I held so close to my heart that not a lot of people I could really talk to about this, because I don't know what it was, man, but like, this is maybe a topic for another day, but in my graduate years at university, my graduate years were not full of many this is not too fair to say. This is not a sweeping statement, but just not too many outside thinkers, out of the box thinkers. So when I saw this in a movie, I was blown away, dude. Because this is a topic that I know that there will come a point where we will be able to psychically interpret the telekinetic imprints that we make with our emotions that pulsate from our brains. So it won't be words. It's not going to be words. It's going to be images and feelings. And with images and feelings, especially the feelings part, you can communicate an immense amount of data in a second. And that is a bandwidth. Think about the bandwidth of communication. Right now we got to go word by word.
Right.
I go word by word.
Yeah.
But I blow you up with a bunch of data psychically, and boom, you're like,
that's
oh
a
my
great
God.
point.
Like, oh,
yeah.
dude. Oh.
And you also, what's crazy, and this is with other like emotions or thoughts as well, is you understand all of the data instantaneously.
Yeah.
Like if it were a list of 100 things, you get all 101 understanding. Does that make sense?
Yeah, oh, definitely.
You know everything about what you're thinking without even having gone through the thought. Yeah. And it's like, holy smokes. And that kind of plays along with what we were talking about earlier. Just the fact our facial recognition.
Yeah.
Which we even think might be more than just facial recognition with our eyes. It might be like, oh, obviously the eyes, the look, the body.
There's the aura, man.
But the aura, the energy pattern.
The demeanor, people would say demeanor, body language.
All
body language cues, all that stuff.
So it's much more than that. And it's like we're not taking enough, I want to say like pride, but not really pride. We're just not being allowed to fully go with our natural selves. And I think we're actually being stifled. They're trying to stifle.
Can I ask you who they is? Who they is, bro? They,
it's complicated, obviously.
But you know what? I don't think it's complicated. You know what I think it is?
I think it...
Yeah. Imagine... Okay, look. Let's break it down. You're a Rockefeller. You come in this country. You're in the Wild West. There's barely any railroads yet. There's barely any banking. You're like, you know what? It's time. I'm going to be a billionaire.
It's time.
You amass your wealth. You build one project. You build a second project. You build your banks. You build your another bank. Boom. Next thing you know, you control half of the country.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now you control half the country. You don't need people to be creative in their thinking. You just need people to be consumerist.
You need them, and you need them to work.
They need to fuel
to fuel you.
They need to be creative insofar as they're concerned for their well-being. They want entertainment, and they want to be soothed. That's it.
And they want something to do. By the way, that goes to what we were saying earlier. They want something to do, because sometimes when you get into that nihilist state and you think about your existence, you're like, wait, there's nothing to do. Yeah. And there's nowhere to go.
No, we just, you know what? And this is another subject, which is the subject of novelty. As Terrence McKenna would say, like, as a race, we're just like, and even as a universe, we're approaching a point of like infinite novelty. Which means that like intergalactic travel, yes. Orgies with many alien races, yes. Like psychic talking, yes. All of the above is gonna happen.
Yeah.
But more. It's like, and then eventually to the point where like we're all one because we like this Borg thing, you know.
I was gonna say that just reminded me. I had a thought, very influenced in a certain experience, and it's like, where are we going?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
What does progress mean? Obviously, I know what the definition of progress is, but it's like, why is that what we keep doing? It's like we have nothing else to do, so we're like, let's just get better and better. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing at all, but it's like, where does it lead to, and does it stop? But I like how you put it just there. It's like we just become one. It's like what is it? Just like,
if you think about it, it's like
coalescence.
What's social media 2.0 gonna be? I'll tell you. We're in a VR room. It's
We're in a
high
VR podcast.
It's high res, photorealistic, 3D scanned objects all over. They're interactive. They
Sensation.
haptic suits, more advanced haptic suits, only $6.99. You can finance it.
If
no
even
big
a
deal.
suit.
If even a suit,
Probably not.
It could be just a neural injection.
We already got.
It could be.
We
just
already
neural.
got Gertrude from Elon Musk, our prized the pig with Neuralink.
Yo, pig. You know that episode of Rick and Morty where the dogs take over the world?
Yeah.
Yo, let the pigs have some. Give them an island at least. Give them a government. Give them some supplies. Let them create their own world for once.
Let the pigs have their own world.
Let's make a deal with the
selfish
pigs. We eat and kill some of their brethren, but we're decreasing it over the span of 20, 30 years. We're going to decrease it, right?
Yeah.
And then in about 20, 30 years, we'll have like really good laboratory-grown beef and pork, right?
We already have that. We got the Impossible Burger.
Yeah, but that's not a burger, man.
That's not. I wouldn't say that's really, really good. And no, it's not.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I like it.
I mean, like,
I'll eat it.
Actually, it is tasty. I was thinking more
tasty.
like good as in like a maybe a quality thing.
I'm not all elk and shit. I'm not all gun ho on meat. I'm not all about like elk and whatever. You know what I'm saying?
You know what? That's just he does it sustainably. I'm all for it.
Yeah, man. No, if you have livestock or if you have a wilderness, you know, whatever acres.
Here, let me read this for a second. Neuralink. Elon Musk unveils pig with chip in its brain. This came out a little bit ago, 29th of August. I was hoping to eventually talk about it a little bit. But basically, Elon Musk unveiled a pig named Gertrude with a coin-sized computer chip in her brain to demonstrate his ambitious plans to create a working brain-to-machine interface. It's kind of like a Fitbit in your skull with tiny wires, says Elon Musk. You can see the article here. You can go read it for yourself.
That's
this is on
cute
BBC.
How he puts it. That's very cute.
It's like a Fitbit. Oh, it's like
You know what this is? You want to know what Neuralink is?
Step 1.
It's his trap card. Because he is one of the few people on this planet that I believe is nightmarishly afraid of an AI takeover. I think he's way more concerned about an AI takeover than like anyone on that billionaire list.
I feel like
Warren Buffett, Jeff Bezos don't give a rat's pajamas about that.
I think maybe more than concerned, I would just use the term aware.
No, he's concerned.
Is he concerned? Only remember him talking about it once, and I was just like,
I've seen
seemed
virtually every other interview he does. He's like, yeah, I try to approach government about it. I try to approach people about it.
I remember
nobody
that part
listens
now.
to me.
That's true.
Nobody listens to me. They're like, yeah, it sounds bad. We need to be careful. Yeah. And they don't do anything.
And mix this AI and this extreme brain software. Mix this with some Boston Dynamics robots.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
That are like
it's
freaking
his trump card because we need to at least be able to biomechanically integrate ourselves.
That's compete with
what's about to happen. Because let me tell you guys, I see in 20, 30 years, most jobs are gone. If you don't have some sort of brain enhancement or you're investing into a brain enhancement, just like people invested into TVs. You know how crazy TVs were for people in the 30s?
Yeah.
And 40s? I don't even know if TVs existed in the 30s and 40s. I mean, that stuff blew people away. And that feeling, we haven't really had that feeling with technology in a while. You know why? Because business introduces technology at a much lower rate than it is being produced by government and research facilities.
Okay.
You think we just had 8K? Dude, we've had 8K for like 30 years.
Mm.
You know. Now we get retail 8K
Oh,
TVs.
Now I'm catching on to what you're saying.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's not, I mean, and you can listen to other people talk who, just for example, say they were in certain branches of the military, say they were in certain secret parts, and listen to what they have, and it's like, what? Yeah. Now, if you watch some Gaia Network and you check out my boy David Wilcock and listen to Cosmic Disclosure, we've got everything. We've got literally everything. Now, we're not going to even go with that, but
we could though.
We could.
That's episode 4 maybe.
We need to bring up some more hardcore evidence on that.
No, we're gonna go deep on aliens. Probably next episode.
That sounds good.
We're gonna talk about. You know how we talked about like the race. We talked about the race towards something as a race.
Yeah, progress.
As a race, we race. You know.
As a race of humans.
That's why it's called a race.
Because if time... Oh. There we go.
That's why it's called a race, because we're racing towards unity. And that's why it's... I'm telling you, man, Rick and Morty is so brilliant.
Rick and Morty is right there.
People don't realize how many layers of like psychedelic or ritual or magic rhetoric there is in that cartoon. These writers are very, very, very learned. They're very learned, and they're very aware of the culture, and they're very understanding of the levels of meaning in everything, in words, in images, in mainstream media, in culture, in religion, in politics, and it really blows me away. But they talk about these things, and well, what was I talking about just now?
Progress.
Yeah, progress. It's built into our
race.
psyche, to our genetics.
Yeah, that's true. I definitely would agree with that. And
unity is an entity in this cartoon.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Rick
that's
actually
crazy.
he
That's a weird one.
And he's so brilliant that this unified being wants to copulate with him. It's just like a silly little satirical way of looking at the idea.
Yes. And see, this is a point that we want to get to, and a point that we need to get to.
That's next episode. Aliens, unity, cosmic level.
Yes, but your ego.
I like the ego topic.
When you are unified, there is no ego, and that's one of the hardest things to get rid of. That's one of the hardest things to work with, because it affects our decisions in every single thing, and we're seeing so much ego work right now, actually in the guise of being egoless.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, see, this is the way I see it is that we actually made so much progress in the Western world. The Western world was like built on the very archaic nature of man, and that is the nature of man that we still have not superseded, that we still are really confided by.
Nor will we ever really supersede until we break away from our natural state.
But even if we attain unity and the natural state, we'll still be doing it.
Then we would,
on a cosmic level.
Sure.
On an intergalactic, interdimensional
Sure,
level.
actually, yeah.
So it's like the imperative of consciousness, not just nature, but consciousness. People say, well, evolution. It's like evolution I'm not that impressed with the concept of evolution. I'm like,
Yeah.
maybe it's just because I'm so used to it, but it's just like, obviously we're trying to attain um a higher level of existence. That's all we do. Ever.
Yeah. That's a great way to put it.
So, but the ego is the part of it that is kind of in the way.
It limits our existence, no doubt about that, and it always limits our progress. And we're seeing it in all facets. We're seeing it in the current sickness. We're seeing ego work. We're seeing it in our politics. We're seeing it in people judging each other's actions. We're seeing it even in our speech, in the censorship of the words that come out of our mouth. Imagine most people who are watching this or who are, like around our age probably had to read books, middle school, high school, like, 1984. That's a cliche example. Something like The Giver. It's a little more sinister. Where like censorship is such a big topic, and everybody, we get upset when we talk about it in those books. But when we're in the real world and it happens, it's kind of like those consequences that you're not awake to. I mean, I think this is easier to be awake towards, but the people who are really adamant right now about the censorship of speech and whatnot, they're going to eventually wake up and be like, oh, dang, like, now I'm stuck because and it has to do with what I was saying earlier.
Yeah.
And
you wake up one day and you don't even realize when the effects have arrived.
Let's talk about a specific story.
Okay.
There are so many stories that are all about this, but we're going to choose a recent one. And this is a story that's coming from USC, the University of Southern California.
Shouts out to the Trojans. I'm an alumni. God bless y'all out there in LA right now.
God bless everybody in LA.
It's rough out there.
I was there the day Kobe died.
Really?
My USC audition was the day that he died.
Really?
But you know what? The audition went well, so that's fine.
Thank you, Kobe.
All right, so USC Marshall professor replaced after using a Chinese term that sounds similar to the N-word. Now, I actually knew what this was when I first heard it, like the N-word that they're referring to.
Yeah, me too.
And I'm assuming a decent number of people do.
Yeah. If you've ever had a lot of Chinese friends, which I have.
Likewise.
It's like, yeah, it's a word in their language. It's not related to our N-word in any way. It's not even remotely related to our N-word.
Right. And this professor was basically, lecturing on filler words, or, in this case, this specific filler word, but filler words in general. And the way that he according to this article, he pronounced the word exactly like the N-word with an A on the end.
That's what it is, though.
Right. That's how it sounds. Word. And I'll go to a video after this where a Chinese person.
Don't say it. Don't put the video on.
Okay, we won't.
We'll link the video.
I
don't want to be part of this.
That's a much better idea. Yeah. There's a lot. Actually, it's crazy because you can't even.
If I had a word in my language that sounded like an English word, like it sounded like condoms or whatever.
Think of there are probably some English words that are extremely offensive in another language.
For sure.
With
It's
the amount of
inevitable.
with the amount of languages there are,
Yeah, there's thousands of languages.
there's a high likelihood. And the amount of words there are.
Oh, man, it's so ridiculous that this guy would. I have nothing to say other than, guys, like, get your stuff together. Like, this amount of ego is insane, because there's no Chinese person. I'm willing to bet my savings. There's no Chinese person that would read into this story, know about the professor, that would be that offended by this. I'm willing to put money that some non-Chinese people were the ones that made a rave about this situation. Can we find out who made a rave about the situation?
Listen to this paragraph that I just stumbled upon.
All right.
I'm not even giving the context for the paragraph within the article, but this is just a new paragraph. Our mental health has been affected. It is an uneasy feeling allowing him to have power over our grades. We would rather not take his course than to endure the emotional exhaustion of carrying on with an instructor that disregards cultural diversity and sensitivities, and by extension creates an unwelcome environment for us black students. Okay, so this was written by some sort of black student association or something like that. Let me read. Let's see.
Okay. We give him the word. Give him the word. Give it.
What do you mean?
Give him the word. Fire him.
Oh, fire the professor?
Fire him.
Fire the professor.
He's fired. Done.
He was. And what's interesting?
Did that guy deserve? This is the teleological argument right here. Ready? This is it right here. Okay? What does the metaphysical scale say? You're firing this guy, okay, for how it affected you, made you uncomfortable. This guy lost his livelihood over you, over your ego. What is the metaphysical scale saying? What's more worth it, your bruised ego or this guy's livelihood? And if your decision is my bruised ego, you don't have my vote.
You shouldn't have anybody's vote, because we shouldn't. That's just not how it should be.
I want someone to watch this and pin me down with this clip. I want somebody to ruin my career with this clip. Do it.
I hope. I mean, that'd be great.
I'll bring the thunder to you. The amount of Armenian and Jewish legal gurus I know, they'll destroy you, dude. Bring it on.
The amount, and the amount
they want to play this game.
Yeah, and the Russian girls.
The words. Frank Zappa said it. It's just words.
Yeah, words. And by doing this, and we see it all the time, you give the word power. And
you never do that.
Who's to say? And along with all this, we change words all the time, and we change the meaning of them quickly. Not even really that slow. Because I remember
the Spanish word for the N word, black. The Spanish word sounds very close too. Are we going to eliminate that? Why shouldn't we?
Or even it's coming from Latin.
It's coming from Latin. The way that the Chinese say that word that sounds like the N word with the A at the end, that's the cultural version. That's the music genre version of that word.
That's the chill version.
That's the pop culture version of that word, okay? And so we're going to eliminate that. Let's eliminate the one that sounds like black.
Right.
Let's just keep going down the list.
And what's to say? And where does this distinction come in that even the spelling of a word matters?
Yeah.
Like the inflection.
No, because language is not even a very powerful form. It's very low bandwidth communication.
It's low, yeah.
So you have to deal with some consequences of language empirically. And if you can't deal with it, then wait till we can be psychic and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Because you're not ready to communicate with adults.
Honestly, what a great thing about being psychic, once we're psychic, once we can understand somebody without having to put things into words, we're going to be like just exponentially on a path to oneness.
Thank you so much for bringing that up. And that was, I totally forgot. It's like, that's one of the many things that will heighten our race.
Yeah.
Like exponentially, like you
shared experience. It's like shared experiences, shared, tribulation even.
See, that's how we got down into the singularity route right now.
Yeah.
This is what, we're doing it right now. We're justifying the unity.
Right. Yeah.
It's funny, but ironic,
And it's all good.
But that's what we're saying. There's just this proclivity. I feel like even on our governments, governments right now, it's like we try, but we can't. Man, where are we at?
We got more.
How long are we going right now?
Like 40 minutes.
40 minutes? We got at least some more minutes.
We got a little bit more on you. There's some okay. We're in a chaotic time.
Yeah.
Mega chaos. Everybody's messed up on work. Little work. Everybody's trying to read this unemployment, which is not a bad thing. We need it. We actually need it because of what's happened to the job market right now. We've got an election coming up. Pretty opportune time for all this to happen as well.
Yeah.
We've got candidates who we'd rather not have, and it's probably one of the most divisive times ever, especially like in the political realm, in even the presidential race. And I was speaking to somebody today, and we're just saying, jokingly, his grandpa asked him, who are you going to vote for? And he was like, I'm going to write in my brother because I don't care. And it's horrible. And he's like, wow, well, that's a vote for Trump because you're just wasting your vote and you need to be voting for Biden because...
Who said that?
This guy, my friend's grandpa.
Oh.
And my friend retorted with, a statement about he truly cannot support he can't support either side in good conscience. And I mean, I agree with him completely.
Yeah.
You can't support either of these sides in good conscience. There is no lesser evil. That's a made up
that is so
statement
made up. That's
to
so made up.
get him elected, get Joe Biden elected. And where, as I've been saying, and I'm glad I can finally say this on a recorded thing, where's the support for a person or a candidate like Jo Jorgensen? Okay, she's pretty much all everybody ever wants. She's a libertarian, but if you go look and see what that means and what she stands for, it's what you're talking about. And I'm talking to you, and I'm talking to you, and it's like everybody. Anyway, it's also a woman. I'm ready for a woman president, a female president. Great. I haven't seen any females specifically lifting her up or supporting her. And I think, we support stuff that is weird, and then we don't support stuff that actually matters.
Yeah.
All the time.
All the time.
And, look at Joe Biden right now. Was, incognito or just, at home, staying low for a long time. And then he comes out and then he interviews Cardi B. And if you watch the interview and you're me, you're like, wow, this is just weird. And why is he interviewing her? Why is Cardi B the spokesperson for America?
Okay, so why is Trump the spokesperson of America, right? So you can ask that question.
You mean as
and you
president?
can also ask the question, what are we doing talking to Cardi B? I'll tell you what we're doing talking to Cardi B.
Well, I know we're doing talking to Cardi B too.
We're getting hits, bro. We're getting likes and hits on the net, bro. We're trying to reach the youth population, man. We gotta have Cardi B, of course. Latino mixed race, young, beautiful rap star, and female, and of course we gotta do a little Biden thing with her. I mean, do we understand that the absurdity is universal? It's ubiquitous in politics right now. Is the absurdity? There's no other person outside of the U.S. thinking, oh yeah, Biden, yeah, he's like an angel compared to everybody else. It's like nobody's gonna have that conversation with you.
Yeah.
I'm not saying, and why am I supposed to be forced into a position to vote for either one of them?
Yeah.
What is that manipulative psychological entrapment that you're doing on me, that you're telling me that, like the same, like with Hillary, like I told people, I'm not voting for her.
No.
I'm not going to do it. You go look into it. I'm going to sound like Edgy Bravo right now. Look into it. I can't pronounce the English way of saying it because it's one of those taboo words that you can't say. Edgy Bravo, okay? And guess what's going on right now? Every cool liberal's like, oh yeah, Hillary, she's garbage, man. Yeah, I can't believe that I ever blah, blah, blah. Or like, yeah, I'm glad she's not running, blah, 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 because she's so unpopular. It's like, yeah, right, dude. You were putting me on the stake 4 years ago for not wanting to vote for her.
Right.
Like, what is wrong with our society that we're so inclined to bite each other's throats? We're not trying to be each other's friends, but we're so concerned about the politics that's going to help our communities.
Mm-hmm.
We don't even know how to talk to each other, and we're so concerned. It's like the amount of ego absurdity is what I'm trying to connect this to. It's like, forgive me for sounding a little heated, but man, it's nuts out here.
It's insane. Yeah, it's insane, and
don't tell me you're this if you don't do that. No, dude, I'm my own person.
You're your own person, and you do not have to follow what anybody says.
And you shouldn't either. Really, God bless your heart.
You really shouldn't do what anybody says. You should really be going by your personal experience, your personal knowledge, and you should be able to back up whatever you say. That can be hard sometimes, no doubt about that, but it's like if you think something, ask yourself why you think it. And I'm not saying that from a holier than thou standpoint. It's like I always do that and I'm the best at it. I'm just saying, like, I really try to do that, that's for sure. Yeah. And I'm always thinking about it. And like we said the other day, it's like, it's like you're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to stand up for, it's like the USC thing. It's like, can we just move on?
Can we talk about
it? Can we talk about
Let's
it?
Have a forum about it.
Let's have a forum. Let's have a
Socratic forum.
Right. And
is that too what is it called? Is that white supremacist to say Socratic? Is that white supremacist?
Why would it? I don't know.
I don't know, because it's a Western idea.
No, I don't think that is.
I'm just trying to be careful with what I'm saying here.
Yeah. Well,
you
need to be. As I said the other day, it's like I was told recently you can't say the word blacklist when talking negatively about when something is blacklisted.
You know why? Because it's so clear.
Well, it's obvious on that.
They would rather use more, nebulous language.
Yeah. Which, look, it's like, okay, I get the sentiment. their heart is actually in the right place. It's like there are these pieces. I'm like imagining it as pieces right now. We got a sentiment. We got your heart in the right place. But the practicality and the actuality, it's just like work. And then on top of that, it gives power to something negative. It gives
power
because you are creating that negativity. You're manifesting that negativity.
Manifesting the negativity.
We're manifesting negativity right now.
Yeah, even in something as simple but profound like a 12-step program, you cannot suppress the issue. You cannot suppress the demon. If you're doing that, you're cheating. You're really not being. You're not being. And I want to be sensitive how I say this to all the brothers out and sisters out there, doing it. But you can't fight the demon unless you face it.
Mm-hmm. And you need to want to fully. And
you need to
be personally ready for whatever that is.
You need to be personally ready. So if you're letting. It's like when you're trying to forget about a trauma or you're trying to destroy the power of trauma, you must face it and then just like be at peace with it. But if you create the pulse of negativity from each interaction with that trauma, that trauma will just be there forever.
Mm-hmm.
It's like being obsessed about somebody dying is bad. Being obsessed about a breakup, for example, also bad, right? It's the same psychological idea.
And then that's just going to manifest into other things. And, we're seeing a lot of that today.
That's it.
We're seeing
that's it. That's what it is.
We're seeing a global, or at least how about a national trauma.
Yeah.
From a breakdown in the family. We got a divorce rate that's greater than 60%.
A divorce rate that's greater than 60%. I mean, look, man, I don't want to go too deep. Maybe I'll save this for another podcast, but I've had the occasional relationship, that I like put that feeling into me, which is that like, there's definitely an amount of interpersonal skills that have significantly dwindled in recent years.
Yeah, that's it.
You can attribute that dwindleage to many factors. One of them being this one.
Yep.
Another, what that thing, and just an overabundance of stimulus and an over inclination towards the practicality of things, the brevity of things. Well, I just want things to deliver to me. Well, I just want things to be automatic. I'd rather not have to press this button twice.
Yeah.
And it's been seeping into our social consciousness, which is why I think is one of the main reasons. And this is why would you want to stay with a person and work things out when you don't have to? He's like, you don't have to do that.
Yeah.
But what is the importance of maintaining interpersonal connections? Why is it significant that the divorce rate is over 60%? Why?
I mean, it's significant because it's affecting how children grow up. That's the first thing.
Because when we hear 60% divorce rate, we're like, that's really bad. Why though?
Yeah, why? Yeah, why is a great question.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's affecting, the development of children in a household. And we know for sure psychologically that having two parents is better than having one parent. And having a role model from each side is just as important. Having a male role model and having a female role model is wildly important.
But why should you be labeled? Why should somebody say, because I'm going to be that guy right now, right? Well, how come two mothers can't do it? How come two fathers can't do it? That's a question.
Right. Well, the thing is, I mean, and I'm glad you asked.
Okay.
Now, a little bit of a caveat because it's like I can't give you that 100% because I wasn't raised by two mothers for
Yeah.
22 years.
Right.
We would need that perfect entirety of life,
Right.
almost 23. But for some pretty formative years, it's like I was raised by two mothers. Probably the most formative, but who's to say what is most and what is not most formative? I think all of it's important. Your life growing up. I think if you are raised by two people of the same sex, you just need to be adamant about having that opposite sex role model. And I think I definitely found that in other places with not having a dad, but you know, it's not the same as having a dad. That's for sure. Because you have that connection, you're like, it's that blood connection, and
it's really that's the factor that if you really just go to the bare bones factor of it, it's the blood,
the natural. Yeah, you always come back to the natural.
No, yeah, well that's the thing. It's like
in everything.
We should never be ashamed of that because it's one of the most incredible things about particularly our sentient existence. Is that biologically Mother Nature Gaia driven factor. And so yeah, man, and it's the blood thing. It's just there's nothing like a father and there's nothing like a mother.
Totally.
And that's not diminishing anybody.
No.
That's not diminishing two mothers, two fathers. That is not diminishing that.
No.
It's just kind of like saying like, well, like if I'm not if I'm not 6'5", I'm not 6'5", you know?
Yeah.
If I'm not 6'7", I'm not 6'7", 6'2", or 5'3", or 4'9", I'm not those things. It's like you're just not. It's okay.
And maybe in these scenarios, like I don't know about this so often. Obviously, I'm sure it happens plenty, but maybe let's say you have two mothers and they know the father, and one of the mothers had the child of the father. Well, maybe the mothers could raise him and the father could raise him, but separately.
Yeah.
Him or her. And then as I'm saying this, I'm like, it sounds like a hassle. It sounds like it's not organic, which worries me about the upbringing.
Does this make us let's address it? Does this make us conservative in our framework?
Right.
I don't see anything conservative about this. I don't know why this is inflated or like conflated with conservatism. Necessarily the notion that there's like this sort of like genetic bond, that exists.
Right. Yeah.
And
that there's of equal parts importance to a blood father and a blood mother.
Yeah, because let's just be bold about it. There was a sperm in an egg.
Yeah.
There was a sperm in an egg.
That's true. But that doesn't mean that if you don't have this, you're not going to turn out well.
No.
That's for sure.
No, it's just more pain for the person.
Yeah, maybe more pain.
It's just more pain.
Maybe trauma. Yeah, traumas that because you can lose a parent
trauma too,
in many
ways,
infinite number of ways. That might manifest later, but also having two parents does not guarantee that you also won't have any traumas.
It's very complex.
It's very complex.
For sure,
but that does not mean be willy-nilly.
No, it's not mean. That's what it is. It's like the argument is that you can't just be like, well,
nothing
whatever.
matters.
That nihilist.
You can't go back to the nihilist.
That's what it's like. It's like I remember being much younger, like a decade ago. I was 17, and I was thinking like. I was very, very brash in some of my nihilism. But it never gave me happiness.
It never will.
That nihilism never gave me happiness. And that's how I learned early on that like from being poor to like lifting myself up and like knowing how to like sustain myself is like nothing really changed. Nothing really changed.
you are not, I'm going to go off of that.
Yeah.
It's a little different, but you're not, if you think about it, there's no meaning, which is nihilist. If you think about it logically, rationally, blah, 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 there's no meaning to this existence.
Yeah.
So you got to be the bigger person and create your own meaning.
Yeah.
And that's
exactly
in you. It's in you.
It's in us.
It's in everybody. Everybody's an artist. Everybody's a whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever they want to be. Everybody can create. And actually creation is kind of at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Like the only thing to do.
Yeah.
Which is also kind of looping back to we're always trying to go for higher existence. And even art is higher existence. Art is like, in some sense, the highest
it is
physical existence because it taps so deeply at life.
You know, if
yourself.
you think about it, the culinary arts is the highest form of our taste sensation.
Right.
The visual arts is the highest form of our visual sensation. Musical arts is the highest form of our auditory sensation.
Yes.
Et cetera, et cetera. And textiles is the highest form of our, like
touch,
art. There's the fashion and all that stuff, like textural art.
Yeah, working or building.
Clay. Yeah. Statues, all that stuff. And it's like we're incredible beings because we've developed the power to manifest the highest level of these senses.
Maybe our sixth sense is our one that goes with technology.
That could be our sixth sense,
and maybe
and then our seventh sense will be psychic.
Maybe I think those two are almost like mixed.
Yeah,
in a weird way.
So, but I don't know. We're lately very obsessed, but there's like we're also seeing the action reaction of it. It's like there's this surge for the natural now. There's like this wave of people in response to the miscommunication, the misinformation, and also the technological obsession. There's a wave of people that want to do ayahuasca trips.
Yeah.
And they want to go to the jungle and they want to go off grid.
Yeah.
And there's people on YouTube. There's like big channels, for the sake of not like giving them any negative attention, but there's big channels where people are saying like, yeah, man, you might have to move out of big cities or you might have to move out of your city. Like you want to get away where things are just rough.
Mm-hmm.
Like people are losing their minds and we need to calm down.
They are.
And we need to understand that when you go inwards and kind of like figure out, where the common denominator is. We need to figure that out.
Go in. And with that, we're going to go out.
We're going to go out. This was episode number 3, Houston Ensemble number 3. You're either in or you're out. And we'll see you on the next episode. Wait, 1, 2, 3.